What up, stream? A lot of technical difficulties today, stream. A lot of technical difficulties today. But we here, and boy, do I got a slate for you guys today. We got a fun one ahead of us. All the reactions to week one is going to be fun. Just give me a second here to go live on radio. Apologize for this stream. Apologize for this. But yeah, no, it was a great week one in my opinion. A lot of good stuff happened. Week two coming up. UFC was shocker. I can't wait for that. All right, let's get this going. Hello and good afternoon, everyone here on WSJU Radio. My name is Logan Lightcap. I am here. I am live on YouTube here. We are talking about week one here in the NFL. A lot of big stuff happened this week in week one. I can't wait to talk about it. Not only are we talking about week one, we're talking about UFC 293. What a day that was. UFC 293 was great. It was entertaining. Let me just do a quick sound check here. But yeah, so let's get this underway. I want to get right into it today. Like I said, I do got a lot on the slate for you. 2FC U93, obviously week one, obviously week two. I got a graphic I'm going to show you guys once I stop having technical difficulties. For some reason, my Google Chrome isn't working on my computer, so it's really been throwing off the stream for you guys here on YouTube, for those of you that do tune into the stream. Also, for news for you, those of you that listen on radio, those of you that listen on stream. For news for you, those of you that listen on radio, those of you that listen on stream. This semester, this year will be Wednesdays 1 to 2. Not only that, I plan on dropping weekly YouTube videos over on the YouTube channel at The Log Show. So please, everyone, go subscribe. Go check that out. Check out my TikTok. You'll see clips from today, just from the stuff in general. But yeah, let's get into the real slate, which is UFC 293 is the first thing I want to talk about today before I get into, obviously, the main slate of the day, which is everyone's favorite, good old football. UFC 293 was a very, very interesting UFC event. Pretty much the opposite of what I expected to happened after. Besides the Tafa and the Cop fight, it was kind of surprising to me. I'm not gonna lie. Tafa, we'll start there. We'll start lower on the card. The fights that I'm not gonna get into as much. The fights that nobody really cares about. Tafa gets an easy first round KO over Austin Lane. What a big victory for him. What a nice, a very good victory for him, honestly, for Justin Tafa to move him up in the rankings of his division. At home in Australia, you expected nonetheless out of a knockout artist like Justin Tafa, and he gets the job done doing what he needs to do, knocking out Austin Lane in a very, very quick performance. I mean, there's not a lot to grade in that fight except for the fact that, like, Tafa knocked him out 2.5 minutes in, I'm pretty sure. It was like 2.5 minutes in, Tafa caught him. knocked him out. So a great fight by Justin Tafa, getting a big win there. Manel Kape versus Felipe Dos Santos. Now, that is a fight to talk about. My God, can I say? First of all, obviously, 10 out of 10, it was the fight of the night. There's no way that fight was not the fight of the night. In all honesty, it was just both fighters absolutely were willing to take shots, were willing to give shots. We're going back and forth the whole fight. It was very, very entertaining. You get Manel Kape end up getting the UD victory over Felipe Dos Santos. And for those of you who don't watch UFC or fighting, UD is unanimous decision. But he gets the fight, and they do end up getting Fight of the Night honors, and I could not completely agree more than them getting that bonus, watching that fight. I believe it was a well-deserved win for Manel Kape, who was throwing more effective strikes, throwing strikes more. But Felipe Dos Santos, man, shout out to the young kid, does get his first loss in an absolute brawl of a fight, brawl of a match, just back and forth. He caught Manel a couple of times, rocked him a couple of times late, and made that fight real interesting. Respect to both fighters there. And we talked about this going into the event. It's a big fight for Manel Kape getting that win, because now he's on I believe it's a 4-fight win streak. He did just have, we talked about it, those 2 fights canceled against Figgy and again against Figueiredo and against Kai Kara France. So it's very interesting to see. Maybe he gets the title shot now. Maybe they make him fight maybe like a Brandon Moreno or a someone different. Maybe they make him fight one of those top guys to see if he can really do it before they give him the title fight. But a big win nonetheless from Manel Kape, and a very, very good performance. A very well stand-up game. There wasn't much wrestling throughout this fight. It was kind of a kickboxing match throughout most of it. And a good victory for Manel Kape. On to the next fight, the co-main event of the evening. I can't say that it was not exciting, but it definitely wasn't a back and forth brawl like that fight. It definitely wasn't a close fight by any means. It was very much a blowout fight. I mean, it was entertaining. It was a beat down by Alexander Volkov on Tai Tuivasa. He ends up getting the victory by submission, but my God, was this an absolute beating. It was a beat down. Volkov caught him early on, I believe it was either a hook or an overhand. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he caught him on something early, rocked him a little bit, knocked him down early, and from that moment on, it was all Volkov all day. It was a little bit of Tuivasa very early, but as soon as he got caught, I want to say that was about 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half into the fight, it was Volkov the whole way for a round and a half until he knocked him down and ended up choking Tuivasa, makes Tuivasa tap. Volkov gets hit. So a huge win for Alexander Volkov in a heavyweight division that's very interesting right now. You got obviously Jon Jones fighting Stipe there at the top of the division. But then after that, that's where you start hitting all these Alexander Volkovs, all these other dudes in the division that you really don't know what's going to happen, especially after this Stipe fight for Jon Jones. You have Jon Jones, obviously, is the champion of the heavyweight division. And then, you got Gane up there. You got Sergey Pavlovich, who he has a couple of good wins. He has beaten Volkov recently, but he just lost to Cyril Gane. So I don't know. You got Stipe fighting Jon Jones. I know I'm ahead of myself here, but I think Jon Jones wins that fight. And I don't know who gets the title shot after that. Maybe a rematch with Cyril Gahn would be fun, but I'm ahead of myself. Let me get back to 283 or 293. I mean, 293. Let me move on to the main event. And my God, was my jaw on the floor for 4 out of the 5 rounds of this fight. It was only the second round where I felt like I was watching what I expected out of that fight in Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. Besides that, what I saw on Saturday night between these two fighters was honestly, I don't even know how to explain it, but I don't know if Israel could beat Sean Strickland after what I saw. Like, I don't know if they have a rematch if Izzy can beat him because Sean's style just seems like, and this usually happens for dominant champions. It happens, seems like, and this usually happens for dominant champions. It happens throughout UFC history. It happened to George. It happened to Connor with Habib. You get this fighter that's just this dude's kryptonite, and it's just his style is anti whatever that dude does, and whatever that dude does so great, this dude's style is just so opposite that it doesn't help and it doesn't do anything. And that's really what you get with Sean Strickland versus Israel Adesanya is, and that's what I saw on Saturday. And it's not really what I expected, but it is what I saw. And Israel Adesanya, being the defensive fighter he is, kind of being that dude who likes to sit in the pocket. He likes to sit with his back against the cage. He really does. And he likes to read a fighter. Round one, he's going to read you. And that's what I saw. Round one, I was like, all right, Sean won that, but Izzy's reading. And then round two, you kind of saw it. You saw Izzy kind of read it. Sean was biting, and Izzy was what was it catching him. But the big thing was in that early round, Izzy got caught early, and that was huge for Sean Strickland because it definitely boosted his confidence. Going into that fight, Sean Strickland said it in the post fight interview. That was not the plan. The plan was to go in and try to wrestle Israel Adesanya, which I understand. That's what my plan would be, especially Sean Strickland. And I said that. I said, watch that be the plan for Israel Adesanya and Sean Strickland. And let's see how this goes. But it didn't go it didn't go that way. It didn't at all. And what happened is you saw Sean Strickland just walk down Izzy, and Izzy couldn't really he was just getting outstruck, and Izzy didn't really know what to do. Izzy couldn't counter it because the boxing combos were they were almost so simple that it was like Izzy can feel like he needed to counter him at the time, but it all just added up. They were all like this jab, jab, hook, this jab straight, and these simple boxing combos that Sean Strickland was putting together while doing his awkward little, you if you guys don't see it, you UFC fans, his little whatever that's called. I can't remember what it's called. It's called the Philly shell. He's got his little Philly shell going, and he's kind of rocking with it, and he was hitting those simple deuce. And he was doing a great job against Izzy, and he was really pushing the pressure. He knocked him down early, like I said, and it was big. And I even as an Israel Adesanya fan, even as someone who was really rooting against Sean Strickland, I'm honestly not a huge Sean Strickland guy. I cannot sit here and deny that Sean Strickland 100% deserved to win the belt on Saturday night. Congratulations to him. I don't know. See, this is where this division gets even. This division is just as interesting because now, do you have him rematch Izzy first? Do you have maybe Duplessis fight Sean Strickland because he hasn't fought him yet? Do you maybe have? Obviously, I have to throw Pereira out there, but technically he went up in weight, so I doubt he comes back down, especially the way that Izzy fight went last time. I think he was kind of just there to fight Izzy. So do you give it to Duplessis? Do you give it to Whitaker, who just got knocked out by Duplessis, if I remember correctly? So I don't know. I think it's either the Izzy fight or the Duplessis fight is what we see next out of Sean Strickland. And it's really interesting to see how they schedule that and what the UFC does. But nonetheless, it was a great event. It surprised a lot. It went really well for Sean Strickland. And then this weekend, we got for those people who are kind of trying to get heavy into UFC, less casuals, we got Fight Night this weekend. Shevchenko, Grasso 2 for a rematch for their belt for, I believe that's the straw weight division, the flyweight division for the women. That one should be a good one. I got Shevchenko personally, but that one should be interesting. Also, you got Kevin Holland versus Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Della Maddalena. That one should be interesting. Obviously, everyone loves Big Mouth. Big Mouth, obviously, chopping it up like that. That one should be entertaining. And also, you got Raul Rosas, who I'm saying a lot. Sorry, guys. But you got Raul Rosas Jr. He fights Terrence Mitchell. Raul Rosas is coming off his first loss as a professional after going 7-0 and winning the Contender Series. So that one should be a good one to check in this Saturday if you guys aren't doing anything or if you are at the bar. Bars will definitely have it on. It will be a great one to watch. And now, after that, I sound like Bruce Buffer. We talk about, honestly, the greatest sport on the planet, the NFL. And week 1 was a doozy, man. Just to run through what we saw before I really get into it, we saw the Giants, who man, do I look stupid after what I said last week about the New York Giants. They get absolutely mollywopped at home against the Dallas Cowboys, and I'll get into that. You got, to stay on Sunday, or to go back to Thursday, you got the Lions last Thursday. After I said it myself, I said, watch it. This is a trap game for the Chiefs. It's sneaky. The Lions get their first week 1 victory since 2017. That one's huge. You got the Baker and the Bucks setting sail, and they beat the Vikings. At home, you got Cleveland surprising everyone with the absolutely dominating the Bengals, claiming ownership over their state. You got the Jags showing up late. You got Jordan Love honestly surprising so many people on how well he played. And he really looks like the real deal, if I'm going to be honest. And so much more happened this week. But I really do want to start and talk about the New York Giants playing the Dallas Cowboys. And there's a lot, but not a lot to say here, because I think it's all pretty self-explanatory. When you sit there and you lose 40-0, 40 zip at home in week 1. You're the only week 1 team to not score a point. You're the only team, I believe, in a season. I saw something. It was like in a season, no team had ever. It was like everything that the Giants did bad. It was like lose 40-0. Like everything they did in that game, nobody's done it in a single season, and they all did it at once in one game. But it was insane. The Cowboys defense, I have to give credit. I can't say it's all the Giants playing absolutely god-awful. Like, absolutely god-awful. I can't say it was all that by all means. 7 sacks as a team. 2 touchdowns, both pick sixes, 5 forced fumbles, and a blocked field goal. What an absolute performance out of the defensive side of the ball for the Dallas Cowboys. Micah Parsons, obviously, he had himself, I believe it was 1 or 2 sacks and had himself a day. And that Cowboys defense looks really, really, really good. Like I said, I did have a pyramid that I wanted to show you guys last week. I edited to show it this week. And then again, the technical difficulties, my camera not working. I had to scratch that again. So after week 2, I'll edit it again, and you guys will eventually see Log's pyramid of hierarchy in the league so far this year. But the Cowboys moved themselves up definitely a lot. They looked very, very, very good. They held Saquon to only 63 total yards, 51 of which were on the ground. The Giants' leading receiver was Darren Waller, who only had 36 yards. Obviously, no touchdown for anybody on the New York Giants. Daniel Jones only has 104 yards, almost like just an absolute god-awful game for the New York Giants. And then on top of that with the Cowboys don't have a great game, honestly, offensively. CeeDee Lamb's their leading receiver with 77 yards. He had a good game. You had Tony Pollard. He had a great game with 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dak didn't impress me by any means. He went 13 for 24 with 143 yards. No scores, no picks, though. That's the big thing for Dak is the no picks. I feel is huge. But it's really, 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 really interesting what happened to the Giants. You saw Micah Parsons say it on his podcast. I kind of agree with him. The fact that you're down 36-0 at home and you're leaving Daniel Jones in is kind of disrespectful to Daniel Jones and who he is as a player and who he is to your team. I understand it from a coaching perspective, somewhat from Dable's perspective being like, no, you're going to pound this out with the team. But this man got sacked 7 times. He's been through the ringer. For all we know, the 8th time, and he's done. And you know what I'm saying? For all we know, the 8th time happens, and that's his ACL or he breaks his fibula, God forbid, knock on wood. And so that I really don't agree with keeping Daniel Jones in at that point. I honestly disagree more with the Bengals taking – like, I think it should have flipped. I think Daniel Jones should have been taken out of that game, and I think the Bengals waving the white flag with Joe Burrow, they were still somewhat in that game when they waved the white flag. I think they did it – I'm not against them doing it because of the Joe Burrow injury, but I think they did it a little early. They did it with like 4 minutes left in the 4th quarter, and they were down 24-3. Like, yeah, I guess, but I saw the Jets do it last year in week 1 against the Browns, so I wouldn't have put it against the Bengals to be able to do it, but nonetheless, they didn't feel like they could. They took Joe Burrow out, and it wasn't a dumb decision nonetheless, especially with his injury. But the Giants, man, they get absolutely molly-whopped, man. I don't even know what more to say. Like, where do you go from here as the Giants? Next week as the Giants, you play Arizona, which is very, very good. I like that a lot, obviously, because they're Arizona. In Arizona, which is very, very good. I like that a lot, obviously, because they're Arizona. In Arizona, too. So I very much like that for them. It's very interesting seeing what's going on. The Cowboys at the Jets next Sunday, I think that's good for them, especially with what happened. I'll get into that in a very little bit. So the Cowboys, honestly, looking at their schedule right now, I just pulled it up on my computer. You got You got the Jets on Sunday. You got the Cardinals next week for like in a week from next Sunday, in 2 weeks for the Cowboys. You got the Patriots. The Cowboys honestly could start 4-0 here, folks, and I won't put it past them, especially the way that they looked on Sunday. Watch out for the Cowboys having a really good start. The way that Micah Parsons been playing, Dak Prescott, like I said, he didn't impress me, but he took care of the ball. With the Jets, Cardinals, Patriots coming up, the Jets and Patriots both at home, and then your only road game in the little stretch is in Arizona. Look for the Cowboys to be a dangerous team and possibly 4-0 by the end of week 4. By October 1st or October 2nd, watch the Cowboys definitely to be dangerous, maybe 4-0. And on the flip side, you look at the Giants. Like I said, they have Arizona this week, which is huge for them. That's very good. And then you got in San Francisco next Thursday, not this coming up there, not tomorrow, the week after. And then on October 2nd, Monday night, you got Seattle. You could be going into that Seattle game 0-3 hopefully as the Giants, you're going into that Cardinal. If you're going into that 49ers game 0-2, I'm scared as a Giants fan for this season, in all honesty. If you lose to the Cardinals this Sunday, I know it's early to say that, but the Cardinals are a team that even though you just got beat by the Cowboys 40-0, you should genuinely beat as the New York Football Giants. But it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see what happens there. You got the Giants, like I said, with what goes on there. You got the Giants really pushing. They need a win this weekend. They do. They need to win this weekend. The 49ers game is going to be tough. They'll probably lose that. You need to be confident as the Giants this year. You really need to be going into that Monday night game against Seattle 1-2, because you could easily come out of that 2-2. You got a tough stretch right after that. Like the Giants are, after what I saw on Sunday night, the Giants, a lot changed for me for the Giants, but they could change real fast. And for the Cowboys, like, that's what's crazy is in San Francisco to me for the Cowboys doesn't sound as difficult as it does for the Giants at all after what I saw on Sunday. Does not seem anywhere close to as difficult. But that's honestly enough about the Giants. That's honestly enough about the Giants. Because there's another team in New York that, yes, as much as it hurts to lose 40-0, there's something else that hurts a lot more. And that something else is watching your team after years and years of despair, watching your team finally do it and get your franchise quarterback, get one of the greatest players to play. Get one of the greatest players to play ever in the history of football. You finally do it. You trade, you go take it. If he plays 60% of the snaps, take my first round pick. You guys sign Lazard. You sign Cobb. You get Dalvin Cook. You got the defense of a lifetime. And then you do it. You make the trade for Aaron Rodgers. It's happening. Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jet. Monday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills could not be more exciting. I talked about it last Thursday. How could you not be excited as a Jets fan this year? They are genuinely contenders for the first time since Mark Sanchez lost an AFC championship. And you watch not only Aaron Rodgers tear his Achilles 4 plays into his career, he tore your hearts out of your chest at the same time. Thank Leonard Floyd for hopping on his back and making that tackle that popped his Achilles. Because now we sit here and you got the Jets with a lot of weapons. Better weapons than Zach Wilson had last year. Don't get me wrong. But you are stuck with Zach Wilson again for another year. And I don't disagree with Robert Saleh with what he said with going, I'm sticking with Zach Wilson. Zach is our guy. I don't think bringing in a Kaepernick, a Matt Ryan, a Carson Wentz by any means would be better than Zach Wilson with Aaron Rodgers there. Aaron Rodgers, yes, is rehabbing. Aaron Rodgers, yes, is injured. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be absent from the team. He still enjoys the locker room. He enjoys the people there. Zach Wilson will definitely 100%, I think, be better this year than he was last year. But Jets fans, it was a very interesting night, and it was a roller coaster of emotions for me, who isn't even a Jets fan. Never mind how I could feel for you guys. What a game it was, but with Josh Allen playing out of characteristic with a lot of turnovers. And I know there's this big thing going on right now with him and Aaron Rodgers being like, or him and other players like Dak Prescott and that. Like a lot of people were saying Josh Allen turns the ball over a lot. And I'm not going to say he doesn't. I think he's a lot more efficient than most. Than like Dak is with the ball than a lot more people. But I will say turnovers are definitely a Josh Allen issue that we have seen a pattern of throughout his career. 110% we've seen that pattern throughout his career of turning the ball over way too much. Jordan Whitehead has a very, very good day on the Jets defense. The Jets defense has a very, very, very good day. They have 5 sacks, 3 interceptions, all by the man, Jordan Whitehead. So he has put his name on the scene. I saw something online, and he had a contract bonus. Good move out of him. It was 3 interceptions. This is on the season. You get $250,000 bonus. This man said, I want it week 1. Give me my 250 bands right now. He said, bring me my money. That's what he said. What a nice game out of Jordan Whitehead and that Jets defense. 5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, a punt return. Like I said, Josh Allen with a rough day, only 1 TD. That punt return touchdown that won them the game, my God, was that exciting. I do have to say, though, as exciting as this was, as a bettor, I couldn't have been more mad. I had a parlay that was god dang Jets money line, Dalvin Cook touchdown, Stephon Diggs touchdown, Garrett Wilson touchdown. If that punter could have just tackled him at the 1-yard line and then handed the ball to Dalvin Cook, easy touchdown, Dalvin Cook, I win money, the Jets win, everyone would have been happy. But no, I walk out of here upset. I lose just like the Bills. But nonetheless, I was excited because it was a great football game. That fumble at the end of the game was exciting. Watching the Bills almost score that touchdown, but no, they end up just scoring a field goal was extremely, extremely exciting. It was honestly my favorite game of the weekend. And shout out to the Jets. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers. Shout out to the Bills. Honestly, it was a very, very, or not shout out to Aaron Rodgers. Recovery to Aaron Rodgers. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers for a speedy recovery. Shout out Zach Wilson is what I meant to say. He didn't have a terrible game. Only threw 1 interception. Breece Hall showed up. Breece Hall is back, baby. There was one play someone talked about. I don't remember who it was. Might have been Pat McAfee, where you saw it up the sideline. They showed it, and he had a little bit less kick there. Last season, he definitely would have kicked that up the sideline, touchdown, Breece Hall. Didn't catch sideline, didn't go touchdown, Breece Hall. But nonetheless, it was a very, very entertaining part. It was our game. Breece Hall had a good game. Dalvin Cook had 13 rushes, so he was very much there. Didn't do much, but he was very much there. Garrett Wilson, only at 34 yards, had himself a touchdown. But like I said, on the Bills side, the only person who really showed up is Stephon Diggs. The defense did have 3 sacks, but Stephon Diggs is the only person who really showed up. Josh Allen, 29 for 41, 236 yards, a touchdown, 3 interceptions. That is not great. And that fumble late, that interception late, a lot of late mistakes on Josh Allen there. That was really, really, really poor. And then not only that, right after that, just James Cook didn't get going. Not a lot of people got going. You got and then like I said, Stephon Diggs, 10 receptions, 102 yards, a touchdown. So he did his work. But besides that, it was really, really slow for the Bills. And that I do want to take 1 second, guys. My stream. I don't want to lose you guys here on stream. So I will say that, yeah, I don't want to lose you guys here on stream. So you guys are going to watch me. I'm going to put radio. You're going to listen to music for a second. So I'll catch you guys in a second. But yeah, stream real quick. I got to plug my laptop in. So let me just take the 2-second break. You guys are great. All right, we're back here. We are back here. Sorry about that. But yeah, so it was a very big game. The whole Aaron Rodgers situation is interesting. Going back to what I said, that quick rundown, I really don't think that they should replace Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson's a very good I think he is a good replacement for Aaron Rodgers. I think this was worst case scenario. Zach Wilson is still a backup technically. It just happened that this happened. I I think the only name thrown out there that I didn't disagree with was Joe Flacco, but sign him as a backup because he's been there before. He was Zach Wilson's backup before. So I don't disagree with signing Joe Flacco just in case something happens to Zach. But yeah, I like Zach there. Aaron Rodgers, I hope for a speedy recovery. I really don't think, on that note, really going into the Aaron Rodgers injury, a torn Achilles at 39 is big. It was week 1. It was the 4th play of the game. A torn Achilles, you see when he got up, he knew what happened. And a torn Achilles at 39 is big. Do I think this is the end for Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. I don't. It's hard, but I don't, because I think with medicine today, with the recovery we have today, yes, it'll take him the year to come back. I think he'll be a different Aaron Rodgers when he comes back. I don't think we'll ever see the same Aaron Rodgers again now after this Achilles. But seeing Aaron Rodgers a lot through the offseason, and especially this offseason, excuse me, the man's definitely a huge competitor. So I can't see him not playing at least another year before the end of this. Moving on to the rest of week 1, though, my favorite game out of week 1, outside of, obviously, I do want to say this, I'm not going to talk about it, even though I'm a Saints fan, because it was boring. Nobody wants to hear about it. Shout out the Saints. Big win on Sunday over the Titans. The offense looked okay. Carr's got to look a little better. with my little rundown here. Off the top of my head, this is no notes too. Carr didn't play great. Jamal Williams also didn't play great. That running game really got to get going. Olave looked well. It took him a little bit to get going, but he looked good. Michael Thomas looked to be back in full swing. Derek Carr seems to like him a lot as a target, and that defense played absolute lockdown. I think I heard DeAndre Hopkins named twice all game, maybe 3 times, and neither. I think one of them was late, so one of them was a sort of big play, but we ended up pulling out the win anyway. We had Marshawn Lattimore locking him down, had a pick in front of his face at one point. So great win for the Saints on Sunday. They move on to a Monday night game this week against Atlanta. So hopefully they could get a 2-0 start and really get rolling with a really easy schedule that they got this year. I'm hoping for big things for the Saints. Moving back, though, to a little further back last week, I really want to talk about I really want to talk about the Thursday night game, the Chiefs-Lions season opening game. What a game that was. By all means, what a game that was. It was a close game the whole entire game, back and forth, up and down, left and right. The Lions look like, as people call them now, the brand new Lions. They looked like a brand new team, a brand new set of Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell likes to bite off them kneecaps and do everything really that a real hardcore head coach loves to do. And Dan Campbell does it. And he went out there in week 1. Like I said last week, I didn't think the Lions were going to win this game. I thought they were going to cover. I knew it was going to be close, but I really didn't think they were going to win this game, and they ended up winning this game. And by all means, did they look really, really good. The defense looked good. Now, the Chiefs didn't look great. Yes, they were missing Kelsey, but what's his name said it? What's his name? Is it David Tyreek? No, what's his name? What's the Sunday night? The announcer on Sunday night. I can't remember his name for some reason. He used to do Monday Night Football. But he said, yes, this win has an asterisk behind it because there was no Kelsey and no Chris Jones. I don't know if I could agree with that. Because nonetheless, you have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. You have a very good O-line. You still have weapons at wide receiver. It's not like you don't have MVS. You don't have Isaiah Pacheco. You don't have Kadarius Toney, who I just threw up in my mouth thinking about the performance Kadarius Toney put up on Thursday. But you see all that, and all of that against the Detroit Lions was a recipe for the first Chiefs Week 1 loss since 2014. It was a very good win for the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff went 22 for 35, 253 yards and a touchdown. That, by all means, is a good game. David Montgomery had 21 rushes, 74 yards on the ground with a touchdown on the ground. That, by all means, is a good game. The rookie, what's his first name? Gibbs. I can't remember his first name. Gibbs. He had a very good game. Why can't I remember his name? That's really annoying me, guys. But Gibbs has a very good first game with 9 touches, 60 total yards, 42 of which were on the ground. Josh Reynolds shows up big for the Lions, ripping up that Chiefs defense, that Chiefs secondary that has struggled over the past couple of years. He has 4 receptions, 80 yards. And then obviously, Amon-Ra, the sun god. He has a great game. He's got 6 receptions, 71 yards, and which seems to be, according to the internet, which I didn't know exists because I'm just getting into this betting game, Amon-Ra St. Brown in any Lions game, first touchdown scorer, seems to be the most money bet in football history. Everybody online said it. Everyone's about to bet it in week 2, and I bet you it happens. But it'll be interesting. He has a great game, and the Lions really outperformed the Chiefs. Mahomes, I can't say even struggled. Mahomes put up a pretty Solid game. He went 21 for 39. He 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He had 45 yards with his legs. So Mahomes did his thing. Just nobody else helped Mahomes. Pacheco only had 23 yards on the ground. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire had like 30, maybe. I think he had less, actually. I think he had like 16 and then like 23 in the air. And then Kadarius Toney seemed to be playing a game of hot potato, not a game of football. With the amount of drops he had, he was targeted 5 times with only 1 reception for 7 yards. So Kadarius Toney thought he was up on defense this week. He thought he was Eli Apple. I know when you're as crazy as those two, you think, but no, yeah, you were on offense, buddy. You were supposed to catch the football. You were supposed to catch it, and you didn't. So here we are with the Chiefs starting 0-1, like I said, for the first time since 2014, back when they lost to Tennessee, which I don't even know who was on that 2014 Tennessee roster. Wow. Who's on that 2014 Tennessee roster? Probably like Chris Johnson, CJ2K. What was that cornerback's name? Man, those were the days, bro. But yeah, it's been a while since we've seen the Chiefs lose this early in the year. It's been a while, and they did. So it really sucks. It really sucks for Kansas City. They play I know who they play next week. Why can't I remember? I have to look this up now. Next week they play Jacksonville. That's who it was. They play Duval. So that'll be fun. Jacksonville put up a very good performance that I was going to talk about later against but yeah, it'll be very, very, very interesting to see. It was a very entertaining game. The Chiefs, hopefully Kelsey comes back this week. I think he will be back this week, and that'll be definitely another fold to their offense that helps them move on to what's going on. They got the Bears after that. They got the Jets coming up. I ain't getting to that before. The Jets' upcoming schedule is tough. That's going to be rough for the Jets. They got the Cowboys, Patriots, Chiefs, Broncos, Eagles, Giants, Chargers. Yeah. But back to the Chiefs. It'll be very interesting to see what's upcoming for the Chiefs. I think they'll be fine. Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I think you're looking at maybe like a honestly, I could see them winning 3 straight. I could see them going 3-1. Then they play the Vikings. Like they're in a good set right now with Kansas City. Another couple of surprising games that I do want to run down really before I get into next week's games and the spreads and all of that really. Shout out Baker, even though I shouldn't be saying shout out Baker because I thought they were going to be really bad this year, and they put up a very good win against the Vikings. And I thought one thing was really interesting about this game was really this was one of those games that the Vikings won last year, and they lost in the way that they would have won, which was just making stupid mistakes late. Kirk Cousins threw a late interception that really lost them the game. The Bucs didn't play all too well, and if you look at the stats, if I didn't tell you the score, and I didn't tell you who won, and you had no clue about what happened on Sunday. You've been under a rock since Sunday. You have no clue what happened. And I showed you Baker, 21 for 34, Buck 73. Rachaad White, only 39 yards on 17 rushes. Mike Evans, only 66 yards. Had a touchdown, though. But then on the flip side with the Vikings, I'm showing you Kirk has 344, 2 touchdowns. Madison has 34 yards. Justin Jefferson had a buck 50. Jordan Addison. Damn, Jordan Madison and Jordan Addison. He had 61 yards and a touchdown. You would think the Vikings won that game, but they didn't They made mistakes late. The Bucs kept it close, and the Bucs got a big, big win against a team early that I don't know what to think about the Vikings now with that loss. I was really high on the Vikings, but now that makes the NFC North to me 10 times more interesting. And genuinely, I have no clue who's going to win it. It could be the Packers, who looked very good. It could be the Vikings, who didn't look great, or it could be the Lions, who I just talked about, looked very, very good this week. So it'll be very interesting. That NFC North is going to get very competitive late. A lot of these divisional games that come up for the NFC North with the Packers, with the Vikings, with the Lions, with all of them, is going to be very, 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 very interesting. But yeah, after a big win for the Bucs, it's interesting to see how they go. I don't think they'll be very good. I think this was kind of just an early fluke, I'll be honest. And no offense to Baker and them, but shout out Baker and them. I think he'll get figured out like he normally does. But he played hard. It was a hard-fought win and a surprising win to get a team that I thought was going to be good early off to a rough start. That when late, that's usually when they start to fall apart. So the more losses you put on the Vikings early, the more they scare me late, if I'll be honest. The last game from last week I am going to talk about is also in that division with the NFC North. Oh, also, by the way, the Saints play the Panthers next week, not the Falcons, right? Yeah, they play the Panthers on Monday night. And I know that because the Packers play the Falcons this Sunday. But the Green Bay Packers, a big, 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 big win for the Green Bay Packers this weekend for multiple reasons. And the multiple reasons are Jordan Love. Wow. Did the Packers I'm not saying this to diminish what Jordan Love did, but have the Packers figured out the formula for drafting quarterbacks? And it's draft a first round quarterback, draft a first round talent, which Jordan Love was, by the way, that year. Like Jordan Love, many people thought would go top 15. And then it was as soon as he dropped out of like the top 15 was where people were like, all right, Jordan Love, early second round. Packers trade up to get him at, I believe it was 23 in that draft when they don't need a quarterback. Similar to what happened when they drafted Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers falls to Green Bay when he thought he was going to San Francisco. They draft Alex Smith first overall. And then Aaron Rodgers sits behind Favre for 3-4 years before he gets his chance. They do the same thing with Jordan Love. They take a first-round talent and they sit him behind an all-timer for 3-4 years before he gets his start. And if week one is any teller, listen to the Green Bay Packers for the formula of developing quarterbacks. Because Jordan Love played an absolute masterclass against the Chicago Bears team that, now I will say this, Chicago's Bear team is not great. But Jordan Love, 15 for 27, 245, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, looked extremely, extremely comfortable in the pocket. The Packers were dominant throughout that whole game. That whole entire game, you had the Packers being dominant. Like I said, no interceptions. He played extremely, extremely well. You had Aaron Jones put up 41 yards on the ground, but also had 86 yards receiving and had a huge receiving touchdown. You had it was also that was a big thing that I love to see out of Jordan Love, and you're seeing it looking here at the stats, is what Jordan Love did a great job doing was spreading the ball around, and that's what Aaron Rodgers used to have to do in that Packers offense. And you could see that that's something he very much picked up on with that Packers offense and picked up to. You have Luke Musgrave with 3 receptions, 50 yards. Jaden Reed had 2 receptions, 48 yards. Dobbs had 4 receptions, 26 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So the ball got around. Aaron Jones, obviously, like I said before, great receiving day. So Jordan Love, shout out Jordan Love. I'm going to be honest. He also had a couple rushes, got a little bit of work done with his legs. But shout out Jordan Love. What a great game out of him. Justin Fields didn't play absolutely amazing, yet didn't play terrible. He had a TD and an interception. That interception late really killed my fantasy team. That goddamn mother. I can't say the word. But Justin Fields, by all means, did not play great, but he didn't play bad. He played okay. He had 59 yards on the ground, which you expect. But no one really got going. DJ Moore got absolutely shut down by Jair Alexander and that Packers defense. You had that one, it was just that one Packers linebacker I can't remember the name of had that nice pick six. So it was a big game for the Packers and a very good game for the Packers. And Jordan Love is really the talk of the town right now. Like I said, I can't get enough of talking about that specifically when talking about last week. Is just Jordan Love. Honestly, I didn't expect him to play bad, but he still impressed me because he played very, very well, and I think the Packers have a very good chance at winning the division with what I saw on Sunday out of Jordan Love. And now here we go for everyone's favorite segment of the week, Logs Picks. What's going on in the league? Here, I'm going to pull up my FanDuel, and we are going to look at the live odds as we speak for NFL Week 2. We obviously will start with tomorrow night's Thursday night game, and we will pick. Now, I did not get the chance to do the math to get me against the spread last week. I believe I was around a similar record against the spread. I want to say I probably had like 2, maybe 3 more losses against the spread. So my current record on picks is 9-6 through week 1. I was 9-6 in week 1. So I want to say against the spread, I'd flip that, and I'm going to say I'm 6-9. But we are going to check and get an official record by next week. But here we go. Now with picking this week's Thursday night football games. As I click login on FanDuel, it scans my face. NFL Week 2, more odds. Here we go. Starting with Thursday night, Minnesota Vikings travel into the city of brotherly love, and I know they will get no brotherly love from those fans to play the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. We saw last week the Vikings definitely struggled. Kirk Cousins struggled late. They couldn't put together as many points as they could. Jettas did his thing, as he always will, but that second half was a huge struggle for the Vikings, while for the Eagles, very similar. The Eagles went out strong. They still ended up with a win now. That's the difference. The Eagles ended up with a win and the Vikings didn't. But the Eagles early looked like they were going to mollywop those Patriots. They slowed down. Good second half adjustments by the Patriots slowed them down. The Eagles still come out with a dub, still look very good from the defending NFC champions. They are currently giving the Vikings 6.5 points. So I'm going to take the Eagles to win. But I honestly take the Vikings to bounce back a little bit in this game to be close. So I do take the Eagles to win this game, but I am going to take the Vikings against the spread here. So betting-wise, I'm going to take the Vikings, but I take the Eagles to outright win the game. Moving on to Sunday now. Sunday, the first game I have on my list is the Ravens traveling into Cincinnati to play the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Ravens are favored by 3 points. This one I think will be interesting. This one will definitely be close. The 3.5 points is a solid spread here. The Ravens last week played very well against. Why can't I remember who the Ravens played last week? Against the Texans. That's why, because it's forgettable when you play the Texans. But the Texans, obviously the Ravens look very, very good against the Texans. How do you not look good against the Texans? The Bengals look very good. We're very bad against the Browns. They usually struggle early in the year. You saw it last year. I believe they lost week 1 last year to someone they shouldn't have lost to, or like the year before that. The Bengals always tend to struggle early. Joe Burrow tends to have to figure stuff out and put it together. The Ravens don't always struggle early. They want to start getting Odell involved. He didn't really get involved last week. You do take a big hit with the J.K. Dobbins injury, with him injured. Hopefully, you get Mark Andrews back this week for the Ravens. So maybe there's a trade there where you get a big receiving target back, but you have no more J.K. Dobbins in your backfield. I think this one's going to be close. I think it's hard for me to say Cincinnati loses after such a rough performance last week. I think they still want to be known as one of the best premier teams in the league. And I think after losing last week, to say that Cincinnati is going to lose again would be wrong. So I am just outright taking the Cincinnati Bengals. Or, they're favored by 3 points. I'm still outright taking. I think I'm going to take the Bengals. Here. The next game on my slate is the 1-0 Jacksonville Jaguars traveling into Arrowhead, the home of the Chiefs. So this one should be interesting. A big win for the Jacksonville Jaguars last week. They struggled a little bit early, made great halftime adjustments, came out. Trevor Lawrence played well. Calvin Ridley proved to be an absolute certified dog. Which, by the way, that will end the show. I will go back to last week and we'll announce the first of this year log show. Dog of the week. That must have blown your ears out on radio. I got real close to the mic for that one. But nonetheless, we got the Jaguars versus the Chiefs in Kansas City, I believe. No, in Jacksonville. They are not going to the home of the Chiefs. It's in Duval. My mistake there. This one should not be as close as the spread is. They're currently giving the Jaguars 3 points. I think the Chiefs come in, kind of try to prove something. I'm going to take the Chiefs straight up here. I think it'll be a close one. I think I might change if Travis Kelce doesn't play, but I think he's going to play this week, and I think that's my big factor, in all honesty. It really is. My big factor would be Travis Kelce. If Travis Kelce plays this week, no doubt in my mind the Chiefs win that game. There's no doubt in my mind the Chiefs win that game and by more than 3 points. 100%. Moving on, the Chargers travel into Tennessee to play the Titans. And I got a lot of these two teams last week with the Titans playing the Saints. Obviously, I sat there and watched that whole game. And the Chargers playing the – why can't I remember this? It was a good game, too. Oh, the Dolphins in an absolute shootout that they end up losing. Herbert played pretty well. Keenan Allen played pretty well. Mike Williams played slow, but, he'll definitely get going. Austin Eckler scored a touchdown, did his thing. Austin Eckler scoring touchdowns is like putting syrup on pancakes at this point. It's automatic. It's automatic. So shout out Austin Eckler. They travel into Tennessee to play a Titans team that got a tough loss against the Saints last week. A Saints defense that played really, really well, really slowed down Derrick Henry, who at one point threw Marcus May across his chest and threw him across the field. That was funny. So they are currently giving the Titans 3 points in this game at home for Tennessee. I think honestly the Titans offense gets going a little bit more against the Chargers defense. That isn't bad, but it's not as good as that Saints defense. That's really a shutdown defense like they are. So I'm honestly gonna take the Titans here. I like home teams a lot, usually, especially in week 2, especially coming off a loss, especially coming off a road loss. You have that mindset coming off a road loss where it's like, we're coming back home. Let's go win. Let me get comfortable, go win, come back home. You know what I mean? So that's interesting to see. Next game we got on our slate, we got the Packers traveling into Atlanta playing the Falcons. This spread is way too close. They're giving the Falcons a point and a half. Again, with what I saw out of Jordan Love that last week, I think the Packers go into Atlanta and absolutely mollywop them. Give me the Packers just straight up against the spread or, against the points against Atlanta in Atlanta. Give me the Packers to go into Atlanta, win handedly, and Jordan Love to honestly prove that he is what he is. The Falcons aren't a bad team, but I think Desmond Ridder is going to have trouble against players like Jair Alexander and that Packers defense that isn't terrible. You have Bijan Robinson, who proved to be – I'm not super high on him, but he proved to be an absolute athlete. I'm high on him. I think he's going to be an absolute stud. I'm just not high on him in fantasy because I think you just have a lot of running backs down there in Atlanta. You have Cordero Patterson. You have Algier. You have obviously now Bijan. So it's really interesting with the weapons you got down there. But I think the Packers win this one handedly in Atlanta. Give me the Packers and give me the Packers against the spread. Now, Raiders at the Bills. This one is interesting. What is the spread here? I'm actually interested in this spread. Where is the good one? All right, give me the Bills to win. But give me the Raiders against the spread. They're giving the Raiders 9.5 points here. And now the Raiders beat the Broncos. And I think a lot of people think the Broncos are going to be really bad this year. Even though they lost last week in a close game, I still don't think they're going to be bad. There was nothing in that Broncos game last week that proved to me they were going to be bad. I think they just played a Raiders team who's just as equal as them. I think either of them could be very good or very bad. But 9.5 points. I know they're going into Buffalo after Buffalo just took a tough loss, so maybe Buffalo's mad. But by all means, give me the Raiders against the spread here. It's very hard for me to choose against big points like that. I lost it last week. I remember on the show I don't know if I picked Houston, actually. I have to rewatch that. But Houston is by all means not as good as the Raiders. The Raiders are a lot closer to the Bills than Houston was Baltimore last week. So 100%. I'd say give me the Raiders on the spread, but give me the Bills to win the game outright. Definitely. Moving on to the 1 o'clock window. Lions minus 5.5 against the Seahawks. I'll take it. I don't have much explaining to do. I talked about how much I like the Lions before. Give me the Lions against the Seahawks. I'm not huge on the Seahawks this year. 110%. Give me the Lions in that game against the Seattle Seahawks at home too. The next one we're looking at here is Houston at Indianapolis at Houston. I'm going to take the Colts. I really liked what I saw out of Anthony Richardson last week. I think this one being a 1-point spread is going to be close, but I think the Colts being given the point, if they win, they win. This is pretty much just a line at that point with a 1-point spread. It's pretty much just a line. So I take the Colts to win this game, and I'm going to take them against the spread, even though they're giving the point, right? Yeah, they're giving the point. I still think they win by like 3. Like I said, I really liked what I saw out of Anthony Richardson last week. Did make a late mistake, but played very good on the ground. Was very athletic. Didn't make that major mistake with that interception until late. So he impressed me in week 1 against the Jaguars. He really did. They played great early. He led the team in rushing and in passing, had a passing touchdown. Pittman played well. I liked what I saw out of the Colts last week, so I'm going to take the Colts 100%. Bears Buccaneers. This one is interesting. After what I saw out of the Bucs last week, I know a lot of people want to pick the Bucs, and let me check the spread before I commit to picking the Bears. See, they're giving the Bears points. I'm going to take the Bears here also against the spread because I think, no offense to Tampa Bay, I think last week was a little bit of a fluke. I do. I think last week was a little bit of a fluke, and I don't think they'll be able to put it together this week. I think Chicago will. You don't have Jair Alexander shutting down DJ Moore. I think he'll finally get going. Mooney will finally get going. Justin Fields has to have a similar game that he had against the Packers that had him lose by 13 of the Packers. That'll have him beat the Buccaneers. I completely believe that. So give me the Bears plus 3.5. 4 o'clock windows. Now we're starting to run quick, getting towards the end. Giants at the Cardinals. Again, one I think is pretty simple, unless the Cardinals are getting like 20 points here. They're giving the Cardinals 6 points. Give me the Giants straight up. Give me the Giants. Cardinals at Rams. How much are they giving this is the speed run here, guys. I'm going to be honest. I'm running out of time here with the show, so we are going to speed run this a little bit. 49ers travel into LA to play the Rams. Let me find this. They're giving the Rams 8 points. Give me the 49ers to win, Rams to cover. I think the Rams are pretty solid this year. They played very well last week. So give me the Rams to cover that 6 points or that 8 points. I think they lose by like 3. 49ers are very good, though. But on the road, give me the Rams. Or on the road, give me them to win. But give me the Rams to cover at home. Jets at Cowboys. I know I talked highly on Zach Wilson. Oh, actually, never mind. I'm going to keep talking highly on Zach Wilson. I take them to cover. They're also getting 9 points, and I don't think they're that bad. I really don't. I don't think Zach Wilson and that team is that bad with Zach Wilson at the helm. I think the Cowboys defense is really, really gosh darn good, but I don't think that team by all means is that bad. I think this one could get close, honestly, sneakily close, because you saw it with the Bills. The Jets defense is that good. The Jets defense isn't giving up 40 points to that offense like the Giants did. That's the difference. So it'll be real, real interesting. Washington at Denver. Giving Washington 3.5. Give me Washington. Give me Washington to cover. Give me the Broncos to win. Actually, you know what? Give me Washington straight up. Give me Washington straight up. I like the Commanders. I like what I saw out of Sam Howell against Arizona last week. I think going into Denver is tough, but that one's interesting. Give me the Commanders plus or minus 3.5, plus 3.5 there. I mean, Dolphins at the Patriots. I'll have to double check this spread 110% here before I make my pick, but I think I'm probably going to outright go the Dolphins here. I think it'll be close, but the Dolphins even own the Patriots number back when Tom Brady was there. So it's a 2-point spread, so it is close. And with it being that close, I feel more comfortable just outright taking the Dolphins to win this game and probably to cover. Now moving on to Monday night, our 2 Monday night games. Take this one with a grain of salt. I take the Saints to win and cover. I think they win by more than 3 against the Carolina Panthers. Even in Carolina, I didn't like what I saw out of Carolina last week against Atlanta. And not only that, I didn't love what I saw out of the Saints, but I liked it. I think they could put it together a lot more, and they could really do well. And then Cleveland going into Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh getting 2.5. Give me Pittsburgh straight up. I was very wrong about Pittsburgh last week against the 49ers. They got mollywopped, but oddly enough, I don't feel like they look terrible. Is it weird for me to say that? I don't feel like Pittsburgh looked that bad last week. They lost, and they lost bad, but I think they just played a team that was that good. You know what I'm saying? So I take the Steelers over the Browns at home and to cover, obviously getting the points. So that's it for week 2. So here I am, guys, to end the show, going back to week 1, really thinking about it. In week 1, we had a lot of dogs. You had Micah Parsons on the defensive side, really showing up. For the Jets, you had my man, Jordan Whitehead, with 3 interceptions on the Josh Allen to get the Jets a big win after you watched your season crumble. You got the Lions as a whole. I might give it to the Lions as a whole. They played like dogs to upset the Chiefs. You got Justin Jefferson, Jay Jetta. But I do got to give it to one man, and I mentioned him early. After being suspended for a year for betting, and he didn't even bet on his team. I don't even think he bet on football. He just ain't allowed to bet, and he did. Or it wasn't, he did bet on football. But I think he bet on like the playoffs when his team wasn't in it because he was on Atlanta. Week 1, Logan Log Show Dog of the Week goes to number 0 of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Calvin Ridley. My dog, what a game. Had 8 receptions, 101 yards, 1 touchdown in his first game back after being suspended for a year. He really said, I'm back. He pulled a Cam Newton and really said that he is back. And that earns my Log Show Dog of the Week. Now, thank you guys for tuning in today to the Log Show. That's all I got for you. Week 2 coming up, real exciting. We got UFC fight night on Saturday. We got the Vikings tomorrow. Well, the Vikings game tomorrow. That Thursday night game should be very, very, very fun to watch in Philadelphia. So we got that. Obviously, week 2 should be fun to watch. Who doesn't love some football? For you baseball fans, I know playoffs are coming up. That'll be interesting. So you guys definitely have fun with that. Like I said, if you guys only listen on the radio, go to the Log Show on YouTube. Check me out. Subscribe. I'm going to start posting weekly videos along with the live streams on different days that you won't see the stream. So on either a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday is when those videos will be posted, with the stream every Wednesday, 1 to 2. So please go check that out. I'm Logan. This is WSJU Radio. This is the Log Show here on YouTube. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Peace out.